you've heard a lot about black fatigue. Well, there's a fatigue going on in the sports media space, and it's ESPN fatigue. ESPN and YouTube TV have been locked. I'm getting feedback in my ear. I'm hearing the show in my ear. YouTube TV has been locked in a feud with ESPN now that's kept ESPN off our airways for a little more than a week. Those of us that subscribe to YouTube TV, like myself, Monday Night Football was not available to us. Even though we may have an ESPN Plus subscription, some sort of ESPN subscription, I subscribe to YouTube. That's my primary platform for watching television. I couldn't watch Monday Night Football, and this has become very frustrating, but it's becoming a very humbling experience for ESPN. ESPN is losing the propaganda war. ESPN has been trying to write a narrative and get sports fans on their side and big, bad, evil YouTube, and it's not working. What is actually happening is, as I mentioned earlier this week, is people are getting more comfortable with like, hey man, I'd rather go without than to download and pay for another streaming service. This whole deal of like, hey, there's a bundle and streaming and drop your cable provider. People are kind of over it because we have too many streaming services that we have memberships to, that we're paying subscription fees to, and we're kind of over it. But more than that, we're really over ESPN. There is real ESPN fatigue, and they're in a battle with YouTube that doesn't have YouTube fatigue. And this isn't saying that YouTube is perfect, because it is not. But most people like YouTube. And most people most people that are into content creation respect, fear, and make money with YouTube. No one makes money with ESPN. No one has much reverence anymore for ESPN. So sports fans are siding with YouTube. And I'll tell you, it's very simple for us as sports fans. Hey, and look, maybe the other streaming services offer this as well. But those of us that have YouTube and are getting the experience, like, man, I get to put on Sundays, I got the NFL Sunday ticket. I got it through YouTube. I can put 4 games on at one time. Holy cow, this is amazing. I love YouTube TV. I've never been able to do this. I got 4 NFL games that I can put on one single screen. And then those of us that are content creators, whether we like YouTube or not, it is a source of revenue for all of us. And so ESPN wants to win a propaganda war with a YouTube deal. I think it's Steve, and some people got to mute their deal because I'm picking up what they're listening to. But YouTube is killing ESPN as a brand. ESPN is unlikable. ESPN is defined by the faces they've turned to lean into, particularly Stephen A. Smith, and that's why it's a $20 million mistake. Paying Stephen A. Smith $20 million a year to be the face of ESPN when he's unlikable, doesn't know much about sports, and plays the race card every time he wants to have traction over Twitter. And so you have people on Twitter and on these social media apps that are also have a financial connection to YouTube. So who do you think they're going to choose when ESPN's in a fight with YouTube? Well, I'm going to choose the organization that puts money in my pocket, the organization that helps me sustain myself as a content creator. ESPN is in a fight it cannot win with its particular brand at this point. ESPN is getting humbled. And the only way They have just one solution: surrender. And I'm sure there'll be some sort of way that they'll try to manage this while they surrender and acquiesce to YouTube's demands, while putting on the face and paying for media outlets and platforms to describe it as some kind of compromise, or ESPN actually won. But ESPN is not winning here because its brand has been destroyed over the last 20 years. This isn't a new deal where ESPN's brand is being destroyed. This has been going on for a long time, and I'm going to mention some sacred cows. But ESPN, let's start with, and I'm gonna get myself in hot water here and get everyone mad. But this whole little remaking of Stuart Scott as a representation of the heyday of ESPN, it falls flat. It doesn't work. Stuart Scott was a polarizing figure at ESPN up until he got cancer and became a sympathetic figure. But many people did not like Stuart Scott in his heyday. He was polarizing. His whole hip-hop shtick, making himself bigger than the actual games. And that, if you go look at the source of ESPN's problems, it has been the talent making itself bigger than the actual games, bigger than the athletes, and it turned the talent from thinking about serving sports fans into, hey, what's in it for me? If I make it to ESPN, how can I make myself richer and richer and richer by promoting myself? I'm not delivering highlights in a fashion that speaks to all of the audience. I'm trying to build a niche within the ESPN deal that will serve me. And so the whole hip-hop presentation of sports that went over a lot of people's heads, or people didn't like it, didn't like the blending of hip-hop and sports, that's what Stuart Scott represented. And so that, and again, I get it that, you know, Stuart Scott, when you die tragically and you die young, you become a hero and all your sins get washed away and people's memory of you now. Because again, I said this in like real time after he died. I watched Deadspin that spent years trying to destroy Stuart Scott. When he died, Deadspin tried to flip a coin and pretend like they were champions of Stuart Scott. But this process of undermining ESPN's brand while uplifting your own brand, Skip Bayless. And I've walked you guys through this, and I know I'm a LeBron James critic, but I have to defend LeBron James in this aspect. What Skip Bayless did, starting in around 2005, 2006, I've walked you guys through the story. When Skip Bayless made the decision that he was going to build himself up by being LeBron James's biggest critic and unfairly targeting and constantly criticizing LeBron James, that they turned, in my view, LeBron James into a negative character in sports. When LeBron James entered the NBA as someone who played with a tremendous amount of joy, who celebrated with his teammates with little dance routines, and LeBron was just a big, happy kid playing basketball. And then Skip Bayless, trying to build up First Take, trying to build up Skip Bayless's brand, diminishing one of the biggest stars to enter sports in decades, to uplift Skip Bayless and to uplift First Take. He started pounding on LeBron James, and in my view, turned LeBron James into the villainous character that he's been, in my view, the past 10 to 15 years. Skip Bayless did that, and he did it for money, and he drug ESPN in a negative direction. They're not there to celebrate sports. They're not there to have fun with sports. They're there, what's in it for me? Hey, I can get rich off this. I can get overpaid millions of dollars to come on TV and troll LeBron James.